Found a house in Texas for the price of a used Corolla? Great. Now tell me, where do you buy groceries? Today, not on Saturday when a pop-up stand shows up. In towns like Toya and Rangerville, cheap isn't a deal, it's a dare. We're touring 10 places where the silence is loud and the services are optional. Stay to the end, because one town literally has no city government, and another was described as empty on purpose. Let that sink in. You'll learn how to spot the trap before your down payment vanishes into a place with no ambulance on speed dial. You spot a $50,000 cutie on Zillow, and your brain goes, easy win. A porch, a big lot, sky for days. But why does that driveway feel like a runway to nowhere? Because the price tag is whispering half the story. Low mortgage, low taxes, and sunsets that look AI generated. Sounds like a dream, right? But here's the catch. The listing assumes everything you need lives 15 minutes away. It doesn't. Let's break it down. The math that kills the deal hides in the trunk. Groceries, school drop-offs, urgent care, part-time gig. Every errand becomes a mini road trip. You're clocking hours each week just to exist. Gas doesn't care that your house was cheap. Tires don't either. Oil changes come up faster when your life is a highway. That $700 all-in fantasy, it quietly morphs into an expensive hobby, managing your car so your life doesn't fall apart. Now meet Toya. Population hovers around 100. It's quiet. The vibe isn't crime, it's absence. The nearest full-service grocery and pharmacy aren't around the corner, they're a plan. You don't pop out for milk, you stage a supply run. Daily life runs on wheels, not sidewalks. Jobs. The market is thin. The source says it's straight. Extremely limited. Mostly nearby oil fields or commuting. Let that sink in. The savings on housing get rebilled as miles, hours, and stress. And yes, the social scene? It's your steering wheel and a playlist. Here's the thing. Isolation isn't scenic when it's logistical. When your fridge dies, your timeline isn't same-day window between 2 and 4. It's whenever the next parts truck swings by. Deliveries slip. Contractors ghost because fuel and time eat their margin. A simple fix becomes a saga, and you become the project manager of your own survival. It's not dangerous. It's inconvenient at scale. Think of it like buying a cheap printer. The machine is a steal. The ink is where the money bleeds out. Out here, the ink is your time, gas, tires, brakes, and mental load. Every quick run is a debit from your savings account of energy. And the meter runs even when you're not looking. Windshield chips, long waits at the one shop in a 50-mile radius, and the week apart has to ship from a city you only visit on holidays. There's research for this, and it isn't pretty. Rural access deserts in Texas are a real thing. Without local EMS, typical emergency response times creep. Primary care can be a county away. That means a sprained ankle becomes an afternoon. A fever at 10 p.m. turns into a long drive through dark roads, and you better hope your tank is full because the gas station closes early. People romanticize distance until distance shows up with a bill. The next stop runs on vibes and very little government by design. So, what happens when your town has no mayor, no council, and services that live in the gray area? You get a place where City Hall is a vibe, not a building. It looks calm. It feels affordable. But here's what nobody tells you. When there's no local referee, everything you rely on shows up late or not at all. The quiet is real. The costs hide in delays, detours, and dead ends. Let's set the stage. In unincorporated communities, the county is the default. No municipal utility, no local ordinances, and no dedicated crews on call. Trash might be private pickup. Water might be a patchwork of wells or a small system run with minimal oversight. Police? That's the sheriff's department covering a huge map. It works until the day you need a fast answer. Then you learn how far local really is. Now, Rangerville. It operates without a mayor or city council, and it leans on county oversight. Law enforcement comes from the sheriff, which can stretch response times. Population under 100, amenities not within walking distance, and no municipal safety net. That means when a road crumbles or a culvert clogs, the queue is long and your place sits near the back. The paperwork exists somewhere, but transparency is optional when there's no formal structure. People call it where things disappear, and that line lands because disputes and safety concerns can fade without a record. It's not chaos. It's silence with consequences. Here's the tension. Postcard calm looks great in daylight. But who fixes the roads after a flood? Who answers 911 when the deputy is an hour away? Who regulates water quality if the tap turns suspect? Who sets the rules for short-term rentals or a scrap yard that appears overnight? With no local code or council, the answers drift, and you learn to live with "we'll see." That uncertainty is the part that wears you down. Not crime, not drama, just slow motion. Then there's Indianola, a real port town in the 1800s, twice slammed by hurricanes, with fire and disease in the mix. The second hit ended the argument. The town's effective abandonment turned it into a permanent caution sign. Empty on purpose. People didn't leave because it felt spooky. They left because rebuilding wasn't rational. That's the Eerie lesson. Sometimes the map says town, but nature already issued the verdict. Services aren't just bills. They're predictability. Trash pickup that actually happens. Zoning that keeps your sleep schedule safe from a midnight engine test. Flood planning that doesn't shrug at storm season. And yes, the person who shows up when your line breaks and the backyard turns into a shallow lake. Without that backbone, you're guessing your way through daily life. You become your own city manager with none of the tools. Look at Alamore, a railroad stop that rode a gypsum plant until the ride ended. The economic base collapsed. The water supply turned undrinkable. With no strong local authority to force fixes, the response dragged at the county and state level, and people moved out. That's how a town turns into a shrug on the highway. Not with a bang, but with a slow failure to solve basic problems. And you're not ready for the next twist. Company towns and curated resorts make the rules even tighter. When a single owner or brand calls the shots, your community becomes a contract. Miss a clause, lose a privilege. The vibe is clean and controlled, until it isn't, and your recourse is whatever the contract says. Not a covenant, a policy. Let that sink in. So here's the mini payoff. Quiet can be a trap when there's no referee. Incidents fade. Repairs wait. Accountability diffuses into the horizon, and you carry the risk. If cost isn't the real cost, and government is optional, what's the move? Adapt or ghost out? Cheap can be a mirage. Without nearby services and real governance, you're buying an address, not a life. The house is affordable. The logistics are not. That's the twist. Do this before you move. Map your week. Groceries, clinic, school, work. Call and confirm who actually handles water, trash, police, and EMS. Get names, hours, and response times. If answers feel vague, that's your answer. It's like living in a subscription bundle you didn't read. So here's the call. Would you trade a $700 mortgage for a 45-minute grocery run and no city hall? Comment "I'll adapt" or "hard pass."